Hey everybody, Frank Bassett back with you. As we promised, Steve Elkington is going into the National every morning and coming by the Azalea House after he finishes his observations and giving us his thoughts on what's going on. It's a bad day here in Augusta. We're going to have some massive thunderstorms, so Steve came in a little early, but he's already seen a lot. And Steve, tell us what you saw.
Well, we all knew this weather was coming in today. 1 or 2 o'clock, it's almost here. If you pull up the radar and look at it, it's just a blackout this afternoon. I hope that it's going to come in here hard and fast, and get out of here. The golf course right now is so perfect, nice and dry. I don't know what's coming. I know there's a fair amount of rain. It's going to go for 2 or 3 hours. Augusta is so slopey, and they've already got the sub-air on over there. They're already getting ready to pull the moisture out of the green. So I'm hopeful this gets through.
Now, let me clarify something for our listeners. The sub-air system at Augusta, do they also have some sub-air in parts of the fairway or just the greens?
I think it's just the greens, and
just
some of the areas that are flatter.
Okay.
Sub-air, for people that don't know that, it's a system. They've peeled back the whole surface of the green. They put a very expensive, almost like when you go to Jiffy Lube, there's all this mechanical stuff under the green that sucks the moisture out of the greens. They can get rid of moisture almost instantly. As the rain comes on, they can pull it out, so they can have the ability to be able to keep the green speed the way they want to.
Yeah, so that makes it more consistent throughout the tournament, basically.
Just more playable, They don't really want to set the pins on the flat spots. They want to get them up on the hills. They want everything to be great. They want to be the Masters.
Yeah. Well, it was, I guess, a lot of crowds over there this morning.
Yeah, a lot of people there, Frank, this morning. I think people realize, a Tuesday ticket to Augusta, a lot of these people, it's a once in a lifetime chance, or they've spent the whole year waiting to get here. They want to go over and buy merchandise. Gates are open at 8. They got, what'd they get, 4 hours? Basically about 3.5 hours out on the golf course. Probably got to do some shopping. Maybe have a margarita or a Bloody Mary, and maybe see a couple shots.
Yeah. It's looking bad outside. It's going to be bad. Hopefully it'll get through here, as you said, very quickly. But we know that Tiger, of course, is the talk of the town. And so what are the observations? What's the scoop?
Well, the scoop is that he would. To me, it wasn't about whether he was going to play. It was about whether he wasn't going to play. He was already entered. For example, Phil Mickelson pulled himself out of this tournament a week ago and said he wasn't going to play. Tiger was always entered to play, so all of us thinking he was going to play. And today he confirmed that. He said he thinks he can win the tournament. And I said on my podcast earlier this morning about 6 a.m., Frank, I said that after seeing him yesterday and watching him practice on the range, he's really only thinking about one thing, and that is, will this right leg walk its way around this golf course for me for 4 days? I mean, his swing looks good. He's swinging free. All the other players are saying he's got speed. I watched him play the first hole yesterday with Justin Thomas and Freddie Couples. There's not much there's nothing holding his swing back from his leg. I think it's all about whether he can walk, and I think he's good to go.
Wow. Well, that's what we've heard over here, and it's going to be a fun tournament. I mean, do you think he'll contend?
When Tiger came here in 1997 and he completely demoralized and destroyed Augusta National, and he was driving over bunkers and hitting wedges into par fives, that was when it was a real, you could just dominate this course with power. And then we saw him win in 2019. He did the exact opposite. He did it all strategy. I mean, he hit the ball over the middle of the bunker at 12 on Sunday. He laid up at 13. He played the angle at 14. He did all the things. He played the bank at 16. He did everything he had to do to win the tournament. He did it a different way, strategy-wise. I believe you do need length to play Augusta. Some of the guys are out of it from the length side of things. But Tiger, the beauty of this event, Frank, is every fan that's listening to this, or every fan that watches the Masters, we all know how to play each hole. We know you can't go here at 1. We know you can't do this at 2, et cetera, et cetera. So when you start thinking about can Tiger win, the question is, can he hit the ball where he wants to? I know I went pretty wide with that explanation, but we don't know much about his form right now. You haven't seen him play since the PNC. Can he do it? I don't know. He's certainly the most educated player in the field when it comes to experience on this golf course. It'd be interesting for me to see him make himself in the cut and be, somewhere not too far from the lead when these guys rush out.
How much fun. Oh, my Lord.
That'd be something to see.
Yeah, that's going to be the talk of the town, too, and it's going to be crazy. All the background noise you hear, folks, is we are in the hospitality suite, azaleahospitality.com on Azalea Drive, right off the golf course, and the course is closed down right now because of the storm, so everybody's coming in. So we apologize for all the noise in the background, but it is a lot of fun to do a live show in that environment.
Yeah, no doubt. Azalea House is just across the street from Augusta. This is one of the hospitality suites where all the people come that hold tickets for this thing. It's fantastic. Live music yesterday. We did a little show.
Yeah.
They want to get everybody off the course, Frank. They don't want to destroy the course. There's 40,000 people over there. They don't want them muddy and squishy and upsetting the turf over there. So
right.
They just get them off.
Yeah, get them off the course. So let me back up to something you said earlier, and you talked about on your podcast that you do. You recorded this morning at 6 a.m. You're my hero for being up at 6 a.m.
Really.
After the day. But tell us a little bit about that podcast so our listeners know where to go to hear it.
Yeah, we do a sort of we call it the tour report, and it's we break down the field and tell you what we think is going to happen. Who's our favorites. We do a Diane Knox, of course, Russell Knox's sister, a tremendous host of our show. We do an outright favorite that we think is going to win and why. We do people to watch, and we do a dark horse pick, each one of us. And we do pretty well. I mean, we follow the stats heavily. This week, the interesting thing about the Masters right now, there's about a dozen guys, and I was talking to Fuzzy Zeller about this yesterday. There's about a dozen guys on the tour that we all look at, whether it's Rory, Rahm, Cantlay, Morikawa, Schauffele. I'll miss a few here. They're all pretty darn good, and one of them each week seems to emerge and be the winner. How do we separate them for this week? And I'm looking this week at experience. My pick this week was Justin Thomas, just because this is his 7th year playing at Augusta. He's gotten better each year, where he's finished in the tournament, except last year where he finished 20th. Bones is cat in for him. I think experience on this course. I was also talking to Fuzzy about, can a guy like Sam Burns win? Being a rookie. He said he didn't think so, because there's just no way to learn this golf course, Frank. There's no way to know that putt on the 9th hole at that pin placement will break 2 feet. There's just no way to know that unless you've been here 5, 6, 7, 8 years to get that experience. So I'm looking at Justin Thomas. I think he's got a really good chance at it. I'm looking at Diane's looking at Cameron Smith, who's probably one of the best putters we've seen on the tour since Crenshaw.
No doubt.
And there's a sort of a model, there's a sort of a way to win this tournament. When you think of Seve and Crenshaw and Larry Mize, Olafable, these guys, not the longest hitters, but can pitch the ball really well, putt the ball. It doesn't have to be the long hitters all the time here. It's the guys that can maneuver their way around and get the ball up and down when they need to keep it going. Bryson DeChambeau, we all thought he was going to do something here 2 years ago, and he had all trouble with all his distance.
Yeah, he did. Let me ask you this: so are you willing to tell us who in your group that does the tour report, who's leading in your picks year to date?
Year to date, I tell you what, Knox has been on fire. She's been pretty good. She studies it. I tend to think of the golf as we're very close in who's won the amount of picks, but
okay,
we don't miss very much.
Okay,
we don't miss much because when you start to handicap golf, I'm looking for guys that are surging, that have still got a little meat on the bone, so to speak.
Right.
I'll give you an example. Jordan Spieth, who finished really high at Pebble Beach this year, 2nd or 3rd, but was really having a lot of trouble with his driver. The next week, I think it was Phoenix Open, I faded him off the board because he wasn't hitting his driver good enough. Yes, he was putting, but he was moving away from
trending
momentum.
down.
Yeah, trending down, in my mind, even though he just finished 3rd.
Yeah.
So I'm watching how guys are playing, how many weeks they played.
Spieth he finished 24th, I believe, last week in San Antonio. So his putting let him down last week a lot. It damaged him. But within your group of guys, the guys that are the secret golfers, your team, do you have I know you don't like to pick favorites in your own team, but do you have somebody you see trending?
Oh, I pick favorites all the time.
Okay. I was trying to get you off the hook on that, but go ahead. Ryan Palmer's going to be heartbroken. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I picked Kokrak. I'm looking at Kokrak this week in the sort of category of not quite a dark horse. His odds are too low to be a dark horse, but a player to watch. He's got his kids down here. When you're a tour player, Frank, there's more than one thing that makes you play good. There's sometimes you're with your family and you're calmed down, you've been rested, or he's won 3 times in the last 16 months, which is Kokrak. This is a big hitter's course. I just said to you, you've got to be a chipper and putter, but he is a very good chipper and putter. So how do you knit together a player that you think is going to do well on this particular week?
Well, my pick after talking with his instructor from 7 years old forward is Scotty Scheffler. How do you feel about that one?
I love Scheffler. He's probably him and Cam Smith are the 2 premier putters on the tour right now. I don't know if Scheffler's played Augusta enough. It's the only reason I haven't got him at the top of my board. I watched him play the 10th hole yesterday. He just hit the most perfect little draw right around the corner on 10.
Well, you mentioned earlier though that first-time winners can't win here or basically haven't. There's only been one, and he's a friend of yours, a friend of ours. Fuzzy Zeller. How did that happen?
Well, Fuzzy was, I don't know if anyone knows this, but Fuzzy's always been one of the greatest putters we've ever had on tour. But he also had he said to me yesterday, he said, I was a great putter and I had a great week putting, but I also had a caddy, a native Augustan caddy that read every putt for him, and he said I couldn't have even finished in the top 10 without him. So I take that kind of information from Fuzzy and think, okay, can Scheffler do it? Being a rookie, not seeing those putts?
With his caddy, Teddy Scott, who knows this course fairly well.
Yeah, he's won here with Bubba. I mean, it's possible. I just don't know if Scheffler has played enough rounds at Augusta. I think this is only the second time he's played it.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. It's going to be fun to watch. He had his press conference this morning, and he looks rested, that was the concern that his instructor, Rick Smith, had, that Scotty doesn't fly on a private jet, basically. He fly commercial and drives a 20-year-old car and really doesn't care about that. But anyway, we hope he does well. We hope they all do well. But
you got to watch out for a guy that doesn't play for money. If he plays for trophies, he's the guy you got to watch out for.
And that was Tiger. He always has played for trophies.
Yeah. The guys will. Jackie Burke used to say, those guys that are playing for money, they'll choke for money. If you're playing for the win, they work a lot harder.
Yeah, nothing really to lose except just a disappointment that week. Yeah. And like I said earlier on our other show, that Tiger Woods basically has the attitude of Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you're last. And that's Tiger Woods' mentality approaching this tournament. So jumping to another subject, this week here at Augusta, Tiger's probably going to play. He said that. You see anybody that can come into this tournament like a Ryan Palmer, let's say, for instance. Some of the guys, again, that are in the secret golf group.
Brian Harmon.
I love Brian's game.
Yeah, I was watching Brian Harmon yesterday. He was playing with Ryan Palmer, and I went back and watched him tee off on number 11. And Brian Harmon had a really nice drive down there, and so did Palmer. But when I got up there to where they were, Ryan Palmer was 40 yards past Brian Harmon. And I was telling who I was with, Gary Smith, I said, see that right there? I mean, Harmon's probably got 210 to the pin on 11, probably hitting a 4-iron or a 5-iron, and there's Ryan Palmer hitting an 8 or a 9-iron from 40 yards ahead. It's hard to beat the long hitters on this course when they're that far ahead. So, can Brian Harmon come in there?
A la Zach Johnson.
Yep. It's going to be tough. There's been a quantum leap in distance, as you know, since Zach Johnson won.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, these guys are swinging. I saw Rahm hit a 3-wood on TrackMan the other day. It was 180 mile an hour 3-wood speed.
That's crazy.
You know, so they're moving it.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. Do you see, and again, understanding sub-air and what sub-air does for this golf course, but do you see the possible softening of the National as an advantage Woods?
Advantage for Tiger?
Yeah.
I think he's seen so much here. You know, he's seen everything. He has. He knows what to do. Here's a question for you. If Seve Ballesteros was in his prime right now and Ben Crenshaw were in their prime and they were in this field, where would you place them in this field? Knowing that they could pitch the ball and get up and down and hang in there, where would you put them?
Two-man playoff for the championship.
So it's interesting. I think you've got to have everything to win here. I mean, I finished third in this tournament twice. I wasn't a great putter. I was always intimidated when I played here with putting. I think I talked to you yesterday about it's not so much how you hit the ball at Augusta, it's where you hit it. Where do you hit the second shot on the green? Because I could put you on every green in pretty good shape on the wrong side and you got no chance.
Yeah.
So how do you handle that? Okay, well, Crenshaw was the best. He would sort of almost lay up and pitch the ball and keep it in the places where he wanted to play from. It's an amazing course. It's very, very penal, even on the greens.
Yeah, and playing for par is a plus here.
Sometimes I don't know what kind of score it's going to be. It's going to be very windy. I spoke to one of the members this morning, and they said the wind will come through after this front, maybe 30, 40 miles an hour on Friday. That'll be interesting.
That'll be brutal.
That'll be interesting.
That'll be brutal.
We remember the Players' Championship a few weeks ago.
Oh, Lord. That was brutal. That was absolutely brutal.
Really
well, you know the Players' Championship intimately because your two wins were in March, which is that course was designed to be played in March as a championship course.
Yeah, and we saw Cam Smith basically putt his way to victory at the Players' Championship. There wasn't, out of the last 3 holes, I was talking to Cam Smith. I said, mate, I'm not sure which of the best 3 shots you hit on Sunday. Was it the 2-iron he hit on the green at 16 after he chipped out? Was it the 7-iron on 17 that he hit to the right of the pin 2 feet? Or was it the 40-yard pitch shot on 18 that spun back and won the tournament? He said, mate, it was a pitch shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he was asked, by the way, in a post-round interview about that shot on 17. And they asked him, were you aiming there? And he said, no, I was not aiming there. So he pushed it.
As it turned out, he needed it. So he needed to make 2 there as the way it played out.
Yeah. That is how. Tell us about. I know we're talking Masters, but just as a quickie here, tell us about 16, 17, and 18 at the Players' Championship. You've come into those holes in the lead or right there contending a lot. What's it like to stand over those shots?
16's okay. 16's manageable in your brain because once you hit the fairway, you can play to the left, par 5.
Yeah.
You can get your ball in play. 17, on the other hand, is very frightening shot. I mean, Cam Smith, it appeared like on the TV when we were watching 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago that Cam Smith sort of had it, right? He sort of had the tournament when he came to 17.
Yeah.
But he really didn't. He finished up birding that hole and still only won by 1. Bogeyed 18, of course, and 18 is a monster. I mean, when you walk onto 17, it's not just playing 17. You got to play 17 and 18.
Yeah.
And everybody has to go through that gauntlet. You also know it's as hard for everyone else. But it depends how you're hitting the ball, Frank.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. I didn't mean to get off on the Players' Championship,
but
good. It's one of my favorite tournaments.
Yeah.
It's actually the Masters and the Players are equal to me. I just love that championship. But back to this championship, just to kind of close it out a little bit, top 2 or 3 most difficult holes to manage if you come into Sunday afternoon and you're leading the tournament by 4, let's say, or let's say by 2.
Well, the start of Amen Corner, right? Number 11 is you have to get through 11 because they've changed that tee shot now. It's a little easier tee shot, but the second shot, as you know, is wrapped around that lake on the left. where we saw Raymond Floyd go in when he gave the tournament in the playoff to Nick Faldo. The tendency there at 11, Frank, is to always go too far right on your second shot. Well, now they've scooped that out. They've made it like 4 feet deep. I was talking to Marco Mira today, and he goes, I don't know if I can get it up out of that stuff and do what I want. He said, you might see guys hit it in the water from there just trying to get it up. So 11, of course, 12, 12 is case-by-case basis. I used to remember Bob Dolby, who the late Masters champion, said 12 was really hard because you looked up at the green at 12 and the pin was blowing left to right at 12, and you looked at the pin on 11 and it was blowing left to right, the other way, right to left. He said it's hard to play 12 when you got a little helpy-hurdy breeze,
A little helpy-hurdy?
A little helpy-hurdy.
That's good. I like that one.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then, of course, 13, that's manageable. 14, okay. 15, it's where all the action happens. It's what we want. It's what it's good because you can catch up or hang on. Now,
Gotcha.
Seve Ballesteros, remember, famously in 86 that Jack won, Snap hooked his second shot on 15 into the water, remember?
Yes, I do.
And that was obviously affected him when Jack came through in 86.
Yep. Well, we've got our info for today, I think. Is there any other parting thoughts you have for this week's tournament?
I think it's going to be a great tournament, Frank. Tiger Woods, of course, is back. I haven't seen the pairing. The pairings aren't out, are they?
No, not yet. But, we have a rookie this year on Thursday morning, the ceremonial tee shot.
Oh, yeah,
Your friend, Tom Watson.
I saw him yesterday. He looks good. That's going to be great.
He's riding his horses. He's a championship, what is it called, cutting, I guess?
Cutting horse.
Cutting horse, yeah. You're a Houston, Texas guy. You ought to know.
Yeah, I'm not real big on horses, Frank.
Hey, listen, Steve Elkington, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Everybody, please go to secretgolf.com and check out what they have to offer. It's an incredible plethora of information, videos, podcasts, player analysis of how to hit certain shots. It's just a wonderful website to go to. And check out the Tour Report, which is a great podcast.
Tour will be out tomorrow, I think. Let's see. Or maybe late this afternoon. You can see it on all of our platforms.
Yeah.
Give us all of our ideas of what we think is going to happen this week.
Yeah, and Diane Knox, of course, is working on it right now. So it'll be out. Diane will edit this one for us and do her magic, and we'll get this one out tonight. But thank you so much, Steve Elkington. It is always a pleasure, my friend.
You're welcome, Frank.